Hello, my name is Emily, as you may or may not know, and today, we are scholars. Today we are scholars, and oh, this is giving me a headache because I have my contacts in. I think it is bad to put your glasses on and have your contacts in at the same time. But alas, sometimes you must do it for the bit, and sometimes the bit isn't even that good and it lasts 10 seconds. But today, we are scholars. We are going to be diving in to... I need to look at my script. Today, we are going to be taking a look at the way some male authors, they combine words to create such a poetic concoction of language that really, paints a picture for the viewer. However, sometimes the only thing that is in frame in that picture is a pair of tits. It has been noticed that some male authors, when they write their female characters, they write about them in a way that makes it seem as if they have never interacted with a woman before. So today we are going to read some excerpts from these literary revolutionists, right? And listen, these are just snippets from these books. Obviously, I haven't gone through and read in its entirety every single book that is going to be, looked at here. So who knows, maybe within the context of the entire book, these excerpts are not as offensive. Maybe it's the character in of himself who is just like a sexist piece of shit, and it's not the author necessarily or the book as a whole. So, who knows? Just leaving room for that so I don't get comments down below that are like, actually, this author has donated to multiple women's shelters and that and da-da-da-da. We're just here for a gag and a giggle. A gag and a giggle. But anyways, let's just get into it, shall we? She had to sit on the toilet some minutes waiting for the pee to come. Men, they were able to conjure it up immediately. That was one of their powers, that thunderous splashing as they stood lordly above the bowl. Love that the author describes men's ability to pee quickly as a superpower. Like, okay, yeah, Derek stopping the bad guys by having just like a super strong piss stream. Just like pissing really hard on the bad guys. It's like the power of Poseidon has taken over my penis with this stream. That thunderous splashing. That ear-splitting rumble that shakes the foundation of the city. It's a well-known fact about the male species that whenever they take a piss, they're only using about 1/8 of their power, and that's to keep everyone else safe. If every man in the world were to use the power of their full stream at once, unfortunately, the world would be encountering somewhat of a lemonade tsunami. Moving on to the rest, everything about them was more direct. Their insides weren't the maze that women's were for the pee to find its way through. Yes, I can actually speak on behalf of all women here. Our urethras are around 2 miles long, and there's essentially a sailor's knot every 2 centimeters. Now, this is a true story, okay? When I was studying anatomy and we were working with a real human female cadaver, I almost put her urethra in my Shirley Temple because I thought it was a crazy straw. Dino put his feet up and chatted for a couple of minutes, then he put down the phone and returned to the table. Okay, he said. The ME confirms his first estimate of time of death. The girl had a tiny purse tucked into her Virginia, just big enough to hold her driver's license, a credit card, and a few bucks. Her name was Elizabeth Sweeney. Oh no. Liz, girl. Not Liz Sweeney. Girl, why did you have a tiny purse in your down under? Literally in your down under. POV, you're Liz at the airport and they say, ID please. And you say, of course, 1 second. And then next thing you know, you're laying on the ground of LAX, spread eagle. You're just rummaging in there like a raccoon rummaging through a trash can. Like, it's gotta be in here somewhere, this place is like a labyrinth, right? Does anyone have a pair of forceps? Tongs, even? Or imagine during the autopsy, instead of them being like, oh, we found a tiny little Polly Pocket purse, they were like, we found a ginormous bag. Luggage, practically. We inspected Miss Sweeney's southern border, and we did find a literal Mary Poppins bag. We pulled out some Tupperware, a 1957 Chevy, some stuff from IKEA, missing child. But you know what the authorities would find in my purse? My Scentbird perfume. Listen, there are some things that I can't leave the house without or else I feel naked, and a spritz of my Scentbird perfume is one of those things. I feel like having on a good perfume is honestly like having on a good outfit. You know, it just makes you feel more confident and, you know, move more confidently throughout the world. World, behold my scent. The scents that I got this time around were Ariana Grande's Cloud, Catherine Malandrino's Mystery, but I'm pretty sure it's French, so Mystery. Mystery. House of Beau's Rosario, and Vince Camuto's Ciao. My two favorites are Ciao by Vince Camuto and Rosario by House of Beau. For Ciao, the top notes are rose, berries, amber, jasmine, and Italian mandarin. It's super fresh, floral, and fruity. And for Rosario, the top notes are pomegranate, lemon primo fiore, rose centifolia, incense, and vetiver. It's a little bit of a stronger scent, which I like, but it's still delicate, clean, and citrusy. Scentbird is affordable and minimizes the risk of you buying an entire bottle of perfume that you might not even end up liking. Their selection is super diverse, with popular brands like Prada and Versace, and then some more niche brands like Parfums de Marly and Roja. Your first month is only $8, and then after that it's less than $17 a month. You get a 30-day supply of each fragrance, so it gives you plenty of time to fully experience the scent, and who knows, maybe even find your new signature fragrance. Their quiz allows you to curate your options according to your taste so that you can get matched with perfumes and colognes that match your desires. Scentbird also offers a Scentbird Academy Masterclass where you get to learn more about fragrances and perfumes in collaboration with Jo Malone. And of course, we can't forget about Scentbird's very cute and easy to carry packaging. I mean, just look at this. And the colors, it's so summer. I can super easily fit my Scentbird perfumes into my purses, my totes, even my pocket, so that way I can give myself a little spritz even when I'm out and about. So if you're interested in smelling super good and you want to try out Scentbird, make sure to scan the QR code on the screen or use the link below and use my code 55Emily to get 55% off at Scentbird. Plus, you'll get free delivery to your door and a free case. You get the product for only half the price. That's only $8. $8, y'all. Call the cops because that's a steal. So make sure to go find your new signature scent, and thank you Scentbird for sponsoring today's video. Whew! Okay, now on to the next. I apologize, I did have to get some H2O because I am sweating like a pig at a roast. Like I've stated before, the ham hocks have some condensation on them. Okay. Cheers to objectifying women. We should all do that more often, you know, whether it be through literature or movies or TV or even real life. All right, next one. Rick did not pause to analyze the psychology of the pregnant woman. It had not occurred to him that pregnancy was complete paradox. It was paradoxical in that only the female of the species could perform the amazing feat, while perhaps being the less psychologically prepared for it than a male would have been. No woman enjoys the sight of sagging breasts and a bulging stomach, no matter how maternal her urge. A woman's good looks are a woman's good looks, and there is little good looking about a pregnant woman. Right. Yeah, I'm sure women love you, Rick. He's like, women are less psychologically prepared for such an amazing feat. And it's like, are they? If we want to talk about the baseline psychological state of people, women, pregnant or not, are they the ones who are committing mass murders and starting wars? Oh wait, no, I don't think so. I think that's actually men who aren't even going through any hormonal imbalances or postpartum psychosis. They're just being themselves. Also, the last part here where he says, a woman's good looks or a woman's good looks, and there is little good looking about a pregnant woman. You know, I'm imagining this guy as a doctor, right? And he's giving you an ultrasound and he's like, yep, precisely as I predicted, you're a fucking uggo. So you see the test here? Yeah, it has 2 lines on it. You know what that means. Saggy tits. I was staring into 2 of the most beautifully tipped breasts the world had ever known. They were full and round, and using the standard measure, 3.5 milliboobs per handful. Yes, the standard measure. Right. That's how they measured me at Victoria's Secret. They measured me and said, yep, you're -5 kilotits per hour. Just imagine being in the middle of hooking up with this guy, and he's like, yes, precisely as I have predicted. 3.5 milliboobs per handful. Right, yes. Yet again, my hypothesis has rang true. Oh, you're getting an Uber already? If the square root of the nipple equals the buoyancy of the breast, then, of course, tits squared must equal honkers divided by 4. Also, beautifully tipped? What does that mean? Like, it turned an iPad around at you and you hit 35%. Oh, that's a beautiful tip. Me flashing someone my boobs and then immediately handing them an iPad for a tip. And they're like, what? I didn't ask you to do that. I'm actually calling the cops. And here's my question. What's the standard measure for schlong? For schlong, okay? 3.5 millid... I guess it would just be inches. She's in her 30s. Not all that young, Spellbrand said. Stretch marks. So she's had at least one child. Okay, so this isn't the worst thing ever, and I think some people would agree, you know, 30 isn't all that young. It's not a super outrageous statement, but I do need to go off for a second just in regards to aging and women, because y'all are about to drive me crazy. You know, there's this huge societal thing about women and aging where it's like when you turn 25, after that it's like, oh damn, she's in her crypt creeper era. You hit your 30s and all of a sudden someone replaces your mattress with a coffin. It's like, who, what? How did you get in my house? Like, not too long ago, I saw a tweet about Miley Cyrus that was like, she aged like fine wine. The woman is 31. Like, what do you mean aged like fine wine? She's still juice. Sorry, I had to put my hair up. It's literally hot as freaking balls in tight shorts in Arizona in July. Okay. But I was at this party and we were in a group, and one of the women, we were talking about our ages. One of the women was like, oh yeah, I'm 29. And then someone else who was like 24, literally so earnestly, looked at this woman and said, oh my God, you're 29? What's your skincare routine? Oh, what? And I literally interrupted and was like, she's 29. Like, what are you talking about? This isn't a grape versus raisin situation. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna get a little worked up and perhaps a bit unpleasant for a moment, but I remember when I graduated college and everyone around me was like, oh my gosh, we're so old now. We're practically elderly. I can't believe how old we are. What the hell are you talking about? Bitch, we're 22. Shut the hell up, you know? I think it irritates me so much because I'm just very cognizant of how people treat women, especially as they age. But I feel like a lot of that treatment towards women, obviously most of it is done by society, but because obviously things in society are very ingrained, so we are also conditioned to think that way, but we're imposing it on ourselves when we say those things, you know what I mean? Like, I just refuse to give into that, you know, especially as a woman. I refuse to talk like that, because I would have people around me who are my age and are talking about how old they are and this or that, and I'm just like, I don't feel old. I have my whole life ahead of me. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Sounds like a you problem. The cold air made my hair stand up from the roots the way my Nepals stood erect. Ew. Or, not ew, that's natural, but every follicle on my arms and legs becoming a tiny glee tourist, and every cell of me awake and alert at rigid attention. Now, what the hell? Every follicle on my arms and legs becoming a glee tourist? You're joking. You're joking. That would be, you would just roll around on the floor and you'd be hitting all the right spots, because the right spot is evidently all over your arms and legs. I'm sorry. Imagine if you had a bunch of tiny glee tourists all over your arms and legs. That's like, you go outside wearing, you know, a tank top and shorts, a little light breeze, and then all of a sudden you're climbing Climax Mountain and you're reaching the peak. The voice belonged to a plump, round-faced woman of the sort that develops a good personality because the alternative is sewer of the side. God almighty. Oh, this is so mean. Imagine meeting someone for the first time and this is what's going on in their inner monologue. They're shaking your hand like, thank you so much for all of your kindness. Meanwhile, in the back of their mind, they're just wondering how you're able to look at your reflection in the morning and not tie yourself to train tracks by lunchtime. I understand that we live in an extremely fatphobic society, so fatphobic that we don't even recognize all the ways fatphobia are ingrained into our daily lives. So I understand that fat people might feel that they need to be nicer so people don't have another reason to dislike them. But it's funny that just this insinuates that once you get to a certain weight, you're just not allowed to be a bitch anymore. Like, ugh, I just gained 20 pounds. Now I can't be rude to people anymore. Now I have to do volunteer work. I'm one buffet meal away from having to respect those around me. I like her. I could watch her the rest of my life. She has breasts that smile. You know, that's how you know that she's the one, okay? When her boobs are beaming like it's picture day. And when her boobs are asymmetrical, that's when you say, baby, you need braces. Asking a guy, so what do you like about me? And he says nothing about your personality, not even your facial features. It's just, I love the way your boobs smile. And I love the way your ass sings. And your coochie shines in the moonlight. When she'd stop crying, Madeline composed herself before the mirror. Her skin looked blotchy. Her breasts, of which she was normally proud, had withdrawn into themselves, as if depressed. What? Yeah, you know, they always say that a woman's emotions are so hard to figure out, but it's really quite easy. You know, if her boobs look like deflated airbags, faulty deflated airbags that would cause a vehicle recall, you know, it's safe to say she's pretty upset. You know, little life hack here, fellas. Next time you're at a funeral, make sure to pay close attention to all of the women's hooters. You know, during the eulogy, don't even pay attention. Just kind of scan the room. If a woman's talking to you, never look her directly in the eye. Make eye contact with her nepals, right? And you can tell that all of their breasts will likely be very, very borderline to their knees. All the women in mourning, you know, their fun bags, essentially, not so fun anymore. They're gonna look like Ziploc bags filled with hot concrete. Now, if you see a woman at a funeral with perky breasts, she's happy that they died. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna fake my own funeral, and I am gonna invite all of my friends with breasts. For those who don't have breasts, you can stay home and watch the live stream. And if every single one of y'all's honkers are not draped to the floor, I'm busting out of the casket, and I'm gonna say all of you are fake. Imagine I get out of the casket and I'm still alive, and then that's when everyone's boobs deflate. They're like, wow, oh, I thought you were dead. Describe yourself, Nell wrote. Nothing special, I'm afraid, wrote the Duke. How about yourself? Slightly taller than average, flashing green eyes, raven hair falling in luxuriant waves to my waist, unless I pin it up to emphasize my high cheekbones and full lips, narrow waist, pert breasts, long legs, alabaster skin that flushes vividly when I am passionate about something, which is frequently. Your description is reminiscent of my late wife, God rest her soul. Oh, yeah, you know who you remind me of? My dead wife. Not the dead wife. Love that the Duke was just like, yeah, you know, I'm a little uggo-vel, nothing to write home about, you know. And then she was like, I, on the other hand, was carved from marble that was taken from heaven's palace by God's gentle hand. This whole thing was clearly written by a man, but I am kind of obsessed with her answer, to be honest. You know, I'm just imagining someone asking you, what do you look like? And then going on to describe yourself in the way that a medieval male author would, and he's, you know, like writing smut. Oh, what do I look like? Well, I'm so glad you asked. I have long golden locks that cascade down my bountiful bosom, and then, of course, I can't forget about my bodacious backside that is soft and supple, softer than the velvet of the king's throne. And then the other person is just like, okay, you could have just said you were blonde. Pointy chin and hollow cheeks, crowned by prominent cheekbones, and full breast. Here we go again with the full breasts. All of the breasts are full. Like, okay, it's beginning to get a little bit like florals for spring. Like, okay, we got it. Full breasts that visibly strained at the breastbone, like two puppies pulling on their leashes in slightly diverging directions. She had long legs and disproportionately small feet, the big toe aristocratically shorter than the others. She wasn't fussy at all, or coy, or full of feminine wiles. It sounds like this woman needs a breast reduction. Visibly straining at the breastbone. I mean, I just know her back is killing her. You know how people always say, I carry the weight of the world on my shoulders? Well, this woman carries it in her breasts. She has the entire solar system in her breasts. You know, it's Saturn and Uranus. Hey. Like, I don't understand. Like, is this supposed to be a compliment? I mean, two puppies pulling on their leashes in diverging directions, you know, two full breasts diverge at a yellow wood. You know, the next beautiful woman I see, I'm gonna compliment her by staring directly at her chest and saying, are those two wild, untrained Yorkies, or are you just happy to see me? Intensely black hair, tragic eyes that were jungle green, crowned by full eyebrows, raised in slight surprise, lips as if silicone filled, but in reality fattened merely by the nature of ephemeral ethnic mixtures. Conde saw himself threatened by the small bazingas pointing skyward like surface-to-air missiles and perceived the woman's hips either as an oasis of peace or as a battlefield. A battlefield? What? Who are you fighting? He's in between her legs like, you know what this reminds me of? Nom. Has anyone ever told you that your vagina has the same aura as the War of 1812? You know, her beauty was the type of beauty that men went to war for. And that said war took place in Vagville of Gina County. Conde's male chauvinism, which could not be helped, right, forced him to consider that sexy women who loved other women as a painful waste of evolution. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna rant again. This really is art imitates life because multiple men, and I know many other lesbians who have had this experience have told me, you know, to my face and of course plenty online, that me not liking men is a waste. No, it's not. First of all, I'm not here for you to consume. I'm not a fucking whopper. Also, like, okay, well, boo-hoo, it's such a waste for men. We're not gonna be able to get you're not accessible to us. But you're forgetting the most important part, which is that it's a win for women. Also, and the types of men who are saying this stuff to me, do you honestly think that even if I did have the desire to date men, that you would be someone I would choose? Let's do some critical thinking, babes. Some critical thinking. Like, the type of men who have the mindset that lesbians are a waste because they are not able to sexually pursue them, those are not the types of men that I would be dating if I were straight or even bi, okay? So, why don't you chew on that and choke on it? But Amber, kind, green-eyed Amber, with her long red curls, her cinnamon-flavored skin, her Barbie doll vagina. Amber, that lovely girl, she got there first. So, she doesn't have a vagina. She pulls down her pants and it's just Blank Space by Taylor Swift. Not her Virginia looking like the top of Mr. Clean's head. Shiny and reflective. You know, psychics could use her Virginia to tell fortunes. Her eyes look like they've been borrowed from someone beautiful. Just say she has pretty eyes. Good God, man. No, your nose looks like it was forcibly stolen from someone who's gorgeous because, you know, the rest of you was just an assault on my senses. Or, you know, you could use this the opposite way too and say, you know, your entire body and face looks like it was borrowed from an ogre. Martha could feel the body yielding and the bones complaining and the breasts as if they had lives of their own, sagging audibly in the night. Sagging audibly. Audibly sagging. And the audio in question is just me standing in the corner of her room playing a trombone whenever she gets in or out of bed. She gets up in the middle of the night for a cup of water and I'm like, oh, that's my cue. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Her neighbors call like, Beth, I can hear your saggy puppies. Again, all right, Frank and I are going crazy. You woke up the babies. All right, get your tatas under control or we're gonna be filing another noise complaint. Comment down below if your boobs sagged and they had to make a noise, what type of noise would they make? I think mine would be like something like, or maybe something like, all right, so with that, let's wrap it up. My camera is seriously gonna die, so I'm gonna have to rush this. Apologies. Thank you all for watching today's video. If you're a male author, maybe use this video as what not to do, right? Alright, awesome. Anything else? Yeah, okay. I hope you learned a lot about the female body. Alright, thank you. Thank you for watching. Love you guys. Until next time.